Evening this morning. Actually, it's evening where I am, morning where you are, I believe. Got a couple of questions from some subscribers that I'm going to go ahead and tie into the daily Millionaire news. And basically, this is all around. I really just kind of feel like people have read my book and are starting to ask some questions. The channel's been growing. We're almost at 4,500 subscribers, and I just want to let you know I appreciate all of you. Thank you for helping the channel grow. Thumbs up, comments, all of your interactions have been wonderful. Again, I'm the only one on this channel, so when you leave a comment, I'm the one responding to you. So thank you very much for all you do. The first question is actually a two-parter. It starts off with basically, how did you know you were selling at the top of the market, or why did you sell? How did you sell? Hey, you got out at the top. I get this question. I don't know if regularly is too strong a word, but I certainly get that question. I'm getting it a lot more recently because, again, I think a lot of people are kind of feeling we're near the top of a market. So I'll just rewind the clock for you and kind of set it up. First and foremost, to say that I called the top of the market is not even close to the truth. I didn't think I was at the top of the market. I didn't tell anybody I thought it was the top of the market. I've never made a claim that I was calling the top, but this is what happened. I'd been looking in my market every day for 5 or 6 years at this point in our buying cycle. We had purchased, I think it was 7 properties, 6 houses in 1 duplex. The duplex was really 2 houses on 1 lot. And we were actively looking for our next purchase. And I couldn't find anything that the numbers worked. And frankly, it wasn't even close. The greatest example I have for you is the first house we bought was at 107. And we ended up selling it, again, people say at the peak, for 264. The rub in all of this is it's still rented for the same amount for 5 years. It rented for $1,100, technically $1,095. So again, I'm not sitting here today telling you I called the top of the market in 06, 07, 08, whenever you think that is. I just knew that I couldn't make the numbers work. And the numbers weren't even close. They were like negative $400 a month cash flow with 20% down. And at the time, you could get these funny loans, liar loans, teaser loans that were like 1% or 0.9% for 2 years, and then they'd reset to 8% at the 2-year mark, and people would say, don't worry about it, you can just refi. My brain wouldn't let me do that. So that's what we did, is we basically, what I knew I couldn't do was buy the next property. That's the extent of my call. Nothing made sense, and nothing made even close to sense. And that's when I found small apartment buildings. Sorry, I'm coughing a little bit. I'm still getting over the sickness from earlier in the week. That's when we found small apartment buildings. We sold all our houses, moved into apartments. We went from 8 to 80. So that's how I called the top of the market. Kind of fast forward. Probably the one I'm more impressed with is near the bottom of the market. That one I was telling people. It was about 2010, 2011. That same house that I'd sold for 264 retrades at 75, which I try to buy and don't because I was being cheap and bid like 70. But we were picking up houses as fast as we could for a couple of years. And they were essentially giving away for land value. I am most proud about going all in and buying at the bottom. And it wasn't hard. Anybody that was paying attention could see it. They were in big capital letters in the MLS, Realtor.com, or whatever was around back then. The problem was no banks were lending. So you had to go find money. And that's where hard money came first. It's very expensive, 12%, 3 points, all that stuff. You do that a few times, and then you do get private money. You get access to private money and friends and family who are scared and all of that stuff. Why I'm proud about calling the bottom, or at least telling people we were at the bottom, is because everybody was so scared. And it goes back to where we were at the peak, where everybody was giddy, to where everybody was scared. And that's why I watch what the consumers are doing. If you want to really understand why I'm so focused on the consumers, it's because I saw night and day, yin and yang behavior from the same people. The people that were giddy to pay over 250 grand for a house that rented for 1,100 were freaked out thinking about paying $75K for a house that rented for 1,100. It was the same house. That's why I am so laser focused on consumers, because the consumers drive the market, and that's really what it's important to understand what's going on. So again, I've never called the top, but I'm proud about calling the bottom of the market and really going and getting and understanding what was there. We bought everything we could, from houses to duplexes to small apartment buildings, and just everything we could during the downturn. So that's the kind of answer about how did we buy at the top, how we buy at the bottom. The other one I got that I thought I would answer today was about property managers. I write about property managers a bunch in our book, One Rental at a Time, because as somebody who invested out of market, it was very important for us to have a property manager that we trusted. And unfortunately, we went through 5 different teams in our first 5 years. Oh no, the rent price did not go down in 75. In fact, rents went up when the market. So to answer that question, when the single family house market collapsed from 250 to 75, I never had as high occupancy in my units because people were losing homes, frankly. So rents actually bumped up a little bit. They didn't go down in 2010-11. That's a little known fact. So hopefully that answered your question. But back to property managers. We went through 5. We fired 5. Sorry, still getting over the sickness. The things that I found for a property manager that are important is I want to know what the owner does for a living. For me, I want to find an owner of a property manager firm that owns rental units. And I'm not talking 1 or 2. I want them owning dozens, because I want them implementing systems that benefit investors. The one that I've personally had the least amount of success with is when the property manager is a real estate broker. I've had multiple situations at different times of our investing career where the real estate broker basically lost focus on property management. Property management is hard. It is very, very hard. And when the real estate market is really good, they just want to go sell real estate. When real estate's really bad, they just want to work with banks and do REOs and short sales. So I'm not a big fan of working with a property management firm where the owner is a broker whose main source of income is commission, and they do property management to keep the lights on. That's my experience. As for fees and all of that, that will certainly vary throughout the country. I think 10% is fair, right? When you have a single unit, I think charging a lease-up fee up to half a month's rent is fair, assuming you're getting a multi-year lease, because depending on where you are in the country, that is very common. So those are the things that are important to me. I want them to do all the reference credit checks. I want them to pay all the bills. I want them to call me weekly, right? Scheduled calls. I want receipts. I want everything ticked and tied on the general ledger. I expect a full-blown report every month. I expect them to help with evictions. I expect them to do call-outs, multiple bids on anything over $100. So I expect a lot from my property managers. That's just part of the business. So at the end, today's Daily Millionaire News is, how do we call the top? I really didn't. I got lucky. I just watched my market every day for 6 years and knew I couldn't buy the next property. We found something else that was more profitable, so we did 1031 exchanges. The bottom to me was very obvious, and I told people that were listening, but everybody was scared. We just went all in, and again, you could say we got lucky. And then property managers, I want the owner to own rental properties, and I don't want them to own one or two. I want it to be a decent number. So that's my experience. Again, if you watch this channel, realize you can ask questions just by leaving comments below. Appreciate those thumbs up or likes or whatever you want to call them. And of course, hit that subscribe button. Share this One Rental at a Time YouTube channel with anybody you would like. And I don't know if you know this, but all of these videos get turned into a podcast called One Rental at a Time, available on all the podcasting platforms. At least every video that's over 3 minutes long. So at the end of the day, I hope you have a wonderful day and take care. Bye.